anyway, to go from one extreme to the other. Then we have, of course, another book I read today before our segment tapings was Batman, the first part of the Whatever Happened to the Caped Crusader two-parter by Neil Gaiman. Is it Gaiman or Gaiman? I never get that straight.
I don't know.
Well, anyway, Neil...
I think it's... I always pronounce it Gaiman.
Gaiman? Okay.
I don't know.
And Andy Kubert. And it's a nice little story. I enjoyed it. It's... I will say you have to be a Batman aficionado historian. You have to really know the character and all the
Johnny
different...
Horror is going to fucking love this.
Oh, yeah. It's great. I think Locus Mortis would love it, too.
Probably.
But it's a good story, and it's kind of a little, a done in two. If you really understand the character, you know the different evolutions it's gone through. And I love the little bits that it would throw in here and there. The giant typewriter, don't type it, finger it. Of course, an homage to Bill Finger. Here in Gotham City, you have on the expressway Aparo Bridge for Jim Aparo. I grew up on Jim Aparo as a Batman Batman artist, I'm sorry. And then all these different little nods here and there to past incarnations of different Batman characters. An enjoyable story that, to me, really gave the readers their money's worth.
Yeah, I have to say that the second story in here, the Alfred story, I thought was just awesome. Just the little twist that they did in there, and obviously we don't really know exactly what's going on. Batman is actually watching this somewhere,
right,
and he knows something's not right, but there's someone also talking to him, and he's like, this seems right, but this isn't the way that it went, and so on and so forth. So all these stories have a very Elseworlds feel to them,
right?
But I don't want to give it away because this Alfred story in the back, what they do with it, I just think is kind of genius. Actually.
It is very clever. It is. And just so to frame it here, the story is essentially all these characters going to the quote unquote funeral of the Batman, and they're all telling stories as part of their eulogy for him. So that's the framing device for the story.
Batman in the coffin.
And it's like Jose said, there's an Elseworlds feel to it. Some very nice little
but there's also
character moments. Yeah,
just very timeless.
Feel
to it.
Yes.
For the character. I mean, yeah.
And the great thing is that you don't have to know bupkis about, let's say, the whole Batman Rest in Peace thing.
Right.
Although this it kind of ties into it,
We'll
even
see in
though
the next issue how it's going to, but.
And there's a thing in the beginning where it says, here you see Bruce is talking to this other character that we don't know yet, and he asks, "Am I dreaming?" And the character responds, "No, you aren't dreaming." So Neil Gaiman's already dismissed the old "this is just a dream." It's not. This story is not going to be revealed as just a dream later on. Yeah. So it's actually happening right now, and maybe it plays into the multiverses of the DCU and so on. Beyond that, it's still a really good story. It's a good story, and it's actually another story where you can sit down and read it once and really get a lot out of it, but you're compelled to go back and read it again. Because there are other little bits and pieces that they put in there that you might have missed the first way through.
Yeah, this is probably one of the better books that I've read in a very long time.
Although,
as a whole, with the art and the writing was just great, and the story. And
Andy Kubert, there were a couple pages where the artwork seemed a little rushed, but I think when he started changing styles to emulate the other artists, he seemed to find himself again. So
I'd really like to know, because I guess Andy Kubert and Adam Kubert have been on the DC payroll now for 5 years, 4 years?
Yeah. And
I want to know how that exclusivity deal works, because not counting this, Kubert did the other Batman stuff early on with Grant Morrison. Where has he been for all this time? And then he comes out with this, and then he's doing the next issue too. But it's and even the other Kubert, Adam on Action,
right?
That hardly ever came out, and he did 5 issues of that with an annual.
Right.
How are these? I want to know what the deal is. Do these guys get paid no matter what every month? Do they draw a salary check? Is that what the deal is with? Or do they have to hand in a certain amount of pages during that time? Because if that's the case, that they're just getting paid every month, no matter what they do, it's kind of a sweet deal for them because they really haven't done anything since they left Marvel. The stuff that they've done has been good, but the output is just not there. I mean, there hardly has been anything.
They must have an awesome page rate for one, and with those, which always comes with those exclusivity deals, you get a great page rate. But yeah, no, you're right about that whole thing. Like their output really seems to have really taken a nosedive since then. I don't know. I know.
I mean, on the other side, there's Batman and the Outsiders special that came out one shot, and Adam Kubert did that this week. So both of the Kuberts had something come out in the same week.
Wow.
But like, when was the last time you saw anything by them?
Right.
That was any good.
I've always liked Andy Kubert's stuff better than Adam's. I mean, Adam, you can take their artwork and put it next to each other, and sometimes have a hard time distinguishing who is who. But if you look at an entire book done by one and the other, you can definitely tell. Andy, I've always been a fan of Andy since he did that Kazar series with Mark Waid.
I was talking to Avi about that, and he was like, "Was Andy the one that did Kazar?" I'm like, "I think so."
That was an awesome
that
book.
Mark Waid book. Andy Kubert did with Mark Waid. That book was so good.
Yeah.
And then just to talk about Mark Waid again, to get off on another tangent, you had made a comment to somebody. You were talking about the old Mark Waid run of Captain America.
Yeah.
God, that when I
Operation Rebirth.
Yeah. When I read those comics, when they originally came out, I remember thinking that that was the best comic run that I ever read. Mm-hmm. And I want to go back, and I have to go back and dig them out of the box. Or just buy the trade.
I've got the trade. Yeah, I've got the Operation Rebirth.
But
trade.
I remember when he came on to Captain America originally, and then they canceled Captain America in his awesome first run to make room for the Heroes Reborn.
Right.
And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You're taking away this awesome Captain America one by Mark Waid and Ron Garney, and you're replacing it with this shit for an entire year?" It was very fitting that they let him come back after it was done, but man, it was such a heartbreaker. Because that Captain America, that Ron Garney, Mark Waid initial run was just, it was so good.
No, that was one of those story ideas where you only hit on that with a particular character once every, say, generation, and which is why I'm a little bit worried about this whole thing with the eventual revival of Steve Rogers. It's going to come at some point, Right. So. No, you're right. But Mark Waid and Ron Garney did an awesome job with Captain America. The Captain America, the Fantastic Four run that Mark Waid did with Mike Wieringo was also awesome. So there's a lot of really good stuff out there that's in trade form right now. If you're getting really discouraged with what's going on in comics right now, and you think, you know what, they're just revisiting these stories again. Hey,
because that Hulk Red trade paperback just came out this week, so there you go.
Ugh, God, I had almost had the taste of that thing out of my mouth. Thank you. That's what she said. Well, anyway, we'll end this segment on that note, and hope to see you in the next.
I don't know after that comment.